Super Mario Odyssey in its prime was a game that brought everyone together. It was such a good game that many people started coming up with challenge runs to make the game feel new again. And you've probably heard of a lot of them too. There's the minimum captures run, a no jump run, coinless, and much more. But there's one challenge run that's flown under the radar for years. I'm talking about Minimum Mario. Now, based off the name alone, you're probably very confused. This isn't a run where you try not to use Mario, which is what the name of it implies. Instead, you try to get as few moons as possible as Mario, meaning we go out of our way to try to get every single moon while in a capture target. Now, this may seem easy on the surface since this game is literally centered around these capture targets, but there are many places in this game where capture targets are not meant to go. So this brings an entirely new unique challenge to this game. Today, I'm only going to go over the bare minimum required to beat the game, but in a separate video, I'm going to go over the hardest of the post-game moons. Now, we start off in Cat Kingdom. And we beat it the exact same way as normal, since there are no moons to get here anyway. So the challenge first kicks off in Cascade Kingdom. Now, the very first power moon that gives us an issue is the very first one. Normally, you can just break the rock with a chain chomp and go and grab the moon. Now, you may think we can just capture the chain chomp to grab it, but the moon is just out of reach, so we need to get creative. The only other available capture in this kingdom is the T-Rex, but there's an invisible wall preventing us from getting remotely close to it. Luckily, there's a small gap in the invisible wall that, at the right angle, Mario can go straight through. This allows us to capture the T-Rex and get our very first moon. After this, we're forced to fight the boss in order to unlock more collectible moons. And sadly, the only way to collect this multi-moon is with Mario. And since multi-moons are counted as 3 separate moons, our Mario moon count is now sitting at 3. Now, in order to leave the kingdom, we still need 1 more moon. But since more were just unlocked after the boss fight, we can just grab an easy one with the T-Rex and move on to Sand Kingdom. The entirety of Sand Kingdom is basically bullet bill manipulation, since they are the only available capture target upon first arriving. Now, there's 10 moons scattered around the map that are barely obtainable with bullet bills only if we use a very useful glitch. If you shake the controller to go fast and let go of the Y button at the right time, your speed isn't capped. Being able to gain this extra speed is what barely allows us to get these extra moons. Now, there's one moon in particular that I think is super satisfying to get. We can actually get this moon with a bullet bill, and the bullet bills are way over there. So not only do we have to use the speed trick, but we also have to lure the bullet bill and make sure it flies over this bump in the path so that it's high enough to reach the moon, and then we capture it right before it explodes so that the timer resets and barely gives us enough time to get the moon before it explodes. Let's go! So, like I said before, there's 9 other moons we can get with bullet bills, but that still leaves 6 needed moons in order to leave the kingdom. But there just so happens to be 2 multi-moons in this kingdom. So instead of grabbing 6 random Mario moons, we can grab both multi-moons, which unlocks the entire rest of the kingdom while still only adding the 6 required Mario moons to the counter. With our total Mario moons now at 9, and with Sand Kingdom complete, we're able to move on to Wooded Kingdom. But this kingdom is pretty straightforward, with enough easy moons lying around to quickly get us to Lake Kingdom. In Lake Kingdom, we need 8 moons to leave, and luckily, there's exactly 8 moons available to us in capture targets, and the hardest of which requires a massive jump from a Goomba. This is the one. Let's go! Oh my gosh. Too easy. Too easy. Let's go. With Lake Kingdom out of the way, we can quickly get through Cloud Kingdom's boss fight and arrive in Lost Kingdom. But just like Wooded, there's enough moons lying around for us to easily get with captures. Now, we've been fairly lucky so far. Every kingdom has had enough moons for us to get, with the exception of 2, but even still, the majority of the moons in those kingdoms were obtainable with captures, with only a handful of Mario moons. But that's all about to change, because now we're in Metro Kingdom. And this kingdom is brutal. After being forced to get this multi-moon with Mario, there's still only 7 moons we can get in captures, and one of which isn't even in this kingdom. The trickiest of these 7, however, is a moon we once again have to get with a bullet bill. Finally! Oh my gosh, that was stupid. That was way too hard. Never again. Knowing that we need 20 moons to even leave the kingdom, we have no other choice but to take the punch and get the remaining moons as Mario. But on the bright side, there's 11 story moons in Metro Kingdom. So, given that we still need a lot of extra moons to leave, we smartly choose to get all the story moons as our Mario moons, which in turn unlocks the rest of the kingdom. From here, we have 11 Mario moons and the 7 we were able to get in captures, but that still leaves 2 more left. Luckily, now that the kingdom is unlocked, there's exactly 1 more moon that we can get in a capture target. There we go. Oh my gosh, finally. So, after grabbing that moon and 1 random Mario moon of our choosing, our Mario moon count jumped from 9 to 21 from Metro Kingdom alone. From here, we go to Snow Kingdom, and just like Lake Kingdom, there's once again exactly enough moons available to us in order for us to leave. Now, we can actually grab this kingdom's multi-moon while in a capture, but in order for us to get the multi-moon, we're required to get more Mario moons. So we just clip through the wall and skip them. Easy. After clipping, we're able to jump down, start the race, and get the multi-moon before we're usually meant to. This unlocks the rest of the kingdom, allowing us to get the rest of the moons needed in order to leave. And no, even though it made me pop out of the capture when grabbing the moon, I still touched the moon while in it, so it still counts. Seaside Kingdom is mostly made up of water, and it's filled with fish captures, so there were more than enough moons lying around for us to get. But next up is Luncheon Kingdom, and it's one of the coolest kingdoms for this run. A large majority of the kingdom is locked behind its story moons, the first being the Spewart boss fight. One would think that this would be the next Mario moon, but that's surprisingly not the case. You can actually get this moon with a Goomba. How? Well, it can be tricky. You first have to clip out of the arena by backflipping and throwing Cappy at the right time. Then you have to perform a trick jump with the Goomba to even get it over to the moon. Let's go! Wow, that wasn't even a good one, but like it worked somehow. Wow. Yeah, that's it. That's the trick. And here we go. Now this moon isn't the only cool one in this kingdom. We can actually get that multi-moon with a capture target even though there's not a single capture target anywhere in sight. But I'm gonna save that for the next video since it isn't required in order to leave the kingdom. Because after getting the Spewart moon, enough moons are actually unlocked in order for us to leave. We then go to the Ruined Kingdom boss fight where we unfortunately have to get 3 more Mario moons, now making the Mario moon count at 24. Next up is Bowser's Kingdom, and the first problematic moon here is this required story moon. At first glance, it seems like there's no captures in sight, but if you jump to the back side of this wall, you'll find a Pokio that we can actually use to get this moon. The rest of this kingdom is pretty straightforward until eventually we get to the mech fight, and throughout the entirety of the fight, Pokios are constantly launched out of the mech. But of course, as soon as we beat the boss, there are no more Pokios in sight, so sadly, we're required to get this multi-moon as Mario. But these are actually the last required Mario moons. There are no more moons left that are required to beat the game since Moon Kingdom is just a straight shot to the end. And with the main story finally completed, the final Mario moon count is at a staggering 27 moons. 3 in Cascade, 6 in Sand, 12 in Metro, 3 in Ruined, and 3 in Bowser's. Now, if we're being completely honest, besides a handful of difficult moons, just completing the story in this challenge run is fairly easy. But I'm not stopping there. The most unique, hardest, and glitchiest moons in this run have yet to be revealed, and I fully intend on showcasing all of those post-game moons in a separate video soon to come. What really makes this challenge run shine is its post-game. So now that you know what this run is, I hope to see you in the next video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and share with your friends. If this video blows up, I'll do something. I don't know. Thanks for watching. See ya.